Hello, 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 fellow Earthlings. This is Earthling 6455463728. And karma is an illusion, it's not real. Herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, parasites, nature doesn't believe in karma. So, like I said, I am Earthling yada yada yada, and I recently started making my own flatbread. I wanted basic recipe, flour and water, heat it up a little bit for 90 seconds or something, and yeah, it's interesting. I want to try to do that. So I have a computer science degree, I have an MBA, I got a scholarship a long time ago, I've traveled different places, I want to keep traveling. Yeah, so that's it for me for now. So karma, I personally, I don't know about you, but I like to feel that the repercussions of someone acting in an antisocial way will come back and they'll get their just desserts. I like to think that. But, looking at it from a bird's eye view, looking down not just at humanity, not just as my personal relationships, not just as any specific one thing, you have to realize that karma is like something to make you feel good. It's not based on anything that you can see. Now, if you'll start with plants are not supposed to, most plants, not Venus flytraps and whatever else, you start with your algae, right? So your algae, they evolved and they don't hurt anything to survive. They make their own food from sunlight, right? Sunlight doesn't die in order to help plants to sustain themselves, no. But then you go one step above that, boop, to herbivores, and you're like, animals, I'm gonna stick with animals, forget funguses and bacteria and all that other stuff. Herbivores live off of plants. From a plant perspective, you just have all of these animals that just kill and pillage plants in order to survive. And there's a lot of them, and they seem to be doing pretty well in the wild before humans came along. They used to get really big, like, the brontosauruses and so on, and elephants and whatever. Yeah, they don't kill any other animal to survive, I suppose. Of course, I've heard that elephants actually kill, like cubs of any carnivores that they find by stomping on them if they catch them. But yeah, you have your herbivores, and you're like, well, plants don't actually feel pain. They're not intelligent, so maybe it's not that bad to be killing them. Well, then you have your omnivores and your carnivores, right? That live, that's it, for millions and millions and millions of years. They have lived off of the suffering of the herbivores. And there is no way of trying to bend that and reflect in a particular way and say that, the carnivores eventually get it, because they don't. They don't. And the herbivores, there's no karma for the plants. And you say, okay, fine, but the plants don't feel pain, great. But there's no karma for the bear that is eating salmon that are admittedly going to die anyway. But the pain and suffering caused by carnivores, hey, you can't get around that. And of course, the herbivores, I suppose they would die on their own of old age or disease or whatever if there were no carnivores. We can always say that, but they actually exist to kill and inflict suffering. So yes, the suffering would have happened anyway to some extent, And then, of course, there are parasites. Parasites that, we have gut parasites. So many animals have gut parasites. There are ticks. There are all of these different animals. There are cuckoos that basically drop their eggs into the nests of other birds and ultimately kill their offspring, kill those other birds. And I was looking at this book recently. I think it was by Richard Dawkins, where if the cuckoo bird goes and lays its egg in the nest of a bird, and that bird figures out that this egg is not its egg, and it gets rid of the egg, the cuckoo bird then goes back to the nest, sees that its egg is not there, and kicks all the other eggs out of the nest, just destroying that next generation for that bird. And if there was ever something that deserved some kind of karmic retribution, that kind of seems like it. But no, it helps the cuckoo bird because it means that the nests where it laid its egg and the birds didn't complain, well, no, they wouldn't have any offspring either because its cuckoo bird would have killed theirs. So yeah, I guess it really doesn't help in any way, shape, or form. It just, I don't know, does it that their babies would not compete with the cuckoo for food? I don't know. Or maybe it's like killing off the smart, yeah, that's it. It's killing off the smart birds that realize that the cuckoo is taking them for a ride. So there's no like, oh yeah, you're not allowing those smart birds to make you go extinct because they are wise to what you were doing. Yeah, so it's not helpful to them. And of course, when you look at what we human beings have done, all the species that we have wiped out, the dodos, we have done pretty mean things to other versions of ourselves, starting from who knows what happened with us and the Neanderthals, how that ended because they're not here, and it doesn't really look too good that we are around and they aren't. And when you look at the animals that used to be in the Americas, for example, it doesn't look too good that we are around and all those animals are not. And we have just killed so many animals. We've driven them to extinction, and we seem to be doing pretty good. How is your life going? I don't have parasites. I don't have other animals preying on me. Life seems to be going pretty well for me as a human being, relatively speaking, in some measures. By some measures, there are a lot more of us than there ever used to be. So I don't know that in any of these levels that we could call karma on and say, well, in the end, so I mean, what we do when we suggest that, okay, someone took advantage of us in life, and we are now looking to this idea that we invented, this karma, to make us feel good, that sooner or later that person will have to pay for the things that they've done. Probably not. If it hasn't happened with respect to all the species that have been used and abused, from plants to herbivores to carnivores, omnivores, us driving other species extinct. If you look at anybody, any of these, the majority people in any region, it does not look as if karma really exists. It's something that we want to tell ourselves, to console ourselves. I guess it's very similar to heaven, isn't it? That we feel good that, I think someone said, the humble and the meek. The humble and the meek will be rewarded in heaven or be rewarded by karma. That is the idea. But, that clearly we wouldn't need to talk about karma if karma actually existed. We wouldn't have to try to create laws and try to enforce laws and all this other stuff that we do. If karma were real, laws wouldn't be necessary, right? And I don't know about anybody else, but I find that to be somewhat depressing. But what I do find a little bit less depressing is the fact that what we're doing as living things is in many ways just pretend. We are an assimilation of a lot of dead things, carbon dioxide and water and carbohydrates and fats and proteins, and all of these things have been assembled from dead stuff. And at some point, when 1 billion years from now, when the oceans boil over, absolutely nothing that we inflicted on other people or was inflicted on us will ultimately matter. So that feels a little bit better. No? Oh, it does for me. Anyway, that's it for me with, I guess people like drama. So that's why the Joe Rogan stuff would do well. I just looked at a thing with Dane Cook, and I saw how he became famous, and I remember that Carlos Mencia was talking about the fact that Joe Rogan did not like Dane Cook as well. And I remember that on his show, Joe Rogan has said that he used to be so jealous of other comedians' success, and assembling all of those things together in my brain and realizing that Dane Cook was also had his issues, his blowback with respect to joke stealing, I hear as well. And isn't that like a weird coincidence, right? That that Joe has said that he used to be so jealous. Carlos said that all of the stuff that came his way was because of jealousy. Joe's video, come on, we have to say it, is probably responsible for where Carlos ended up. I don't know how responsible Joe would be for what Dane Cook would have experienced in his career. But, they went down and Joe has gone up, which is, I was thinking, with respect to karma, I don't know exactly what happened, but it's just my feeling that Joe is probably untouchable. And I just have a feeling that he put his 2 cents in with respect to Dane Cook. And I can understand where, from Joe's perspective, both of these people have said they did not hang out much at the comedy clubs. They came, they performed, they left. And that would not put you in the good graces, per se, of Joe and many other people who would have preferred if people were around and more sociable and da-da-da. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll do something about that at some point, but it just changed the way that I see Joe Rogan. I hope that his stuff, whatever he was involved in, was from an honest place, but I don't feel like it was. Maybe he's more honest now since he doesn't have to compete with people, but I don't know. Anyway, that's it for me. Feel free to like, subscribe, not subscribe, look at more stuff, not look at more stuff, or any of those things that you'd like other people to do if this were your stuff. So have a good one. Peace.